I knew him as somebody who was quiet-spoken, but really determined.
Born in Danville, Reuben Lawson spent his adult life practicing law in Roanoke. He served as the NAACP lawyer in the Star City, working alongside Reverend Edward Burton, who was the group's vice president.
And to be able to work with the lawyer in our community who was taking these cases to court one by one, and it must have been the right thing to do because every case he took to court, he won.
Those cases integrating schools across Southwest Virginia in the 1950s and 60s.
There was great resistance to following Brown versus Board of Education, not just in Virginia, but all across the country. And so Reuben Lawson said, hey, we're going to try to enforce the law of the land. And so he brought the cases that integrated Roanoke City schools, Salem schools, Roanoke County schools, Lynchburg, a number of rural districts in this region.
Lawson died shortly after in 1963, and many worried his legacy might die with him. That was until a few years ago when Roanoke lawyer John Fishwick started learning more about Lawson and his impact,
He was a real trailblazer.
which fueled Fishwick's efforts to rename Roanoke's Federal Courthouse, the Richard H. Poff Building, to the Reuben E. Lawson Building.
It's a great feeling. It's been about a 2.5-year project that we worked on to rename Roanoke's Federal Building after Reuben E. Lawson, a federal civil rights trial lawyer, a trailblazer, a real icon in this area, who died young, kind of somebody who'd been forgotten in the history books, and I think we were able to bring him back to life.
While the sign right now still reflects Poff's name, the renaming is etched in federal law, introduced by Senator Mark Warner, passed by Congress, and signed by then President Joe Biden.
Reuben E. Lawson Federal Building.
I think telling the full story of Virginia, the good, the bad, the ugly, and recognizing people like Reuben Lawson that might not have been a household name is part of a 21st century Virginia.
Once the sign outside the courthouse is updated, advocates like Fishwick and Burton say it'll be a monument to the continued progress that defined Lawson's life.
I am really enthused that the building would be named after a man who had really worked so hard and who had worked smoothly and who had helped us to bring about what needed to be done in that day and time.